it's going to be very difficult for anyone to maybe really understand, because normally any filmmaker will always have a tendency to get influenced by other filmmakers most of the time, because starting from the classics of the 50s to the 70s to whatever. But I always been influenced by actually Bruce Lee. Because I feel there was also a filmmaker in Bruce Lee apart from him being a martial artist, which is what, in fact, the people have seen my first film, Shiva. Actually, it was a straight copy of a Bruce Lee film called Return of the Dragon. So what I did was, that film, in a nutshell, is Bruce Lee comes from somewhere to Rome, from Hong Kong somewhere, and some goons are teasing this girl, and he fights them. And then at a point of time, because the troublemaker, they ask him to go out, and he forms his own team, and then there's a fight in the end on the Colosseum. So I just removed the restaurant and put a college and made the exact same film, which most people do not know this, you know. So the change of the, setting, but though Nagarjuna is not a martial artist, I actually adopted the technique of shooting action largely from what I studied and understood from Bruce Lee. Then apart from that, Bruce Lee also was a philosopher. He had strong opinions about things and about life, and which is what influenced me a lot. Many of you will remember when Enter the Dragon released, there were probably hundreds of martial arts schools and thousands opened all over the world, because Bruce Lee made it seem so easy to do that. But once I started practicing, I realized it's much easier job to become a film director, so let's leave the martial arts alone. But since then, always it was preying on my mind, and I always wanted to make a martial arts film, but technically speaking, there aren't much martial artists in India. It's not like a culturally which is popular here. And every once in a while it used to return back to me, this desire to make a martial arts film. And at one point of time I thought it's very difficult to get the Bruce Lee aspect in, and then to put a man there, and to convince the audience about the impact of it. So then I thought, why not a woman, So then I started hunting at various martial arts schools, to send them mails to send me pictures of martial artists. Because one is I need a martial artist, and then somewhere the suitability of the script, and then of course again the presentability in terms of the character. So it's a very tough thing to have the combination, and at a point of time I nearly gave up, after seeing and auditioning a lot of people. Then by chance in somewhere when I was sitting in a studio, when I was talking about this, a guest of one of the technicians there, he overheard me talking about this, and he told me that there is this girl called Pooja in Pune. He said, I also haven't seen her, but I heard a lot about her, that she's terrific in martial arts. So not really taking it seriously, I told my production people to contact, and then she came along with her father, and then she demonstrated to me in my office, and I was simply blown away. It took me just 1 second to take that decision. If I make this film, I'll make with her, And then a long process started, because she was technically a champion in Taekwondo. And I was very particular about the Bruce Lee style, which is called Jeet Kune Do. And then a long process of training with various people went, and finally I know that I got the person. Then of course the story. And then to reach, because most of the time we use wire work and actors doing unbelievable stunts like jumping in the air and hanging out in the air, and that kind of a visual things which actors like Tiger Shroff or Vidyut Jamal, these people do. They might know, I'm not saying they don't know martial arts, they know, but they've learned it more for acting purpose, whereas an actor's requirement. So I thought I will do fight sequences which absolutely there is no wire work like what Rama was saying. And apart from that, I wanted only to do what she can do. There's not a single shot in the film where there's a dupe acting for Pooja. And that creates a very heightened sense of reality. So it's been, and the kind of effort Pooja has put in is something inhuman. I really won't believe if someone else told me about that someone like Pooja can exist and actually do all these stunts herself, being a girl. And it is something for me, even now after working with her, after shooting the fight sequences with her, I'm still in shock. And one more thing I want to share is, I didn't tell you this also, all the fight sequences in the film actually are designed by Pooja Bhalekar, because she's got this martial arts skill, and apart from that, the fact that she's been a passionate follower of films, and so she kind of breathes martial arts, and that to get it to convert it into a film is what the only job I have done. And then once we did some test shoots and all that, I sent the footage to someone in China, and they were zapped to see her perform. And then they came down here and they said, we would like to co-produce the film along with you. And that's when it became Indo-Chinese co-production. It's not like releasing in China. The partner is a Chinese producer called Big People. And then, so here the Indian producer is Gopal Verma from Artsy Media. And he also is a huge fan of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon. So basically, I think a group of Bruce Lee fans are which made this film possible, which includes even Pooja Bhalekar.
In real life, Sir is like that, I guess. He's the biggest fan of Bruce Lee I've ever seen in my life. And we are just trying to portray what Sir feels about Bruce Lee. So initially, when we started shooting for Ladki, हमने एक्शन सीक्वेंसेस से शूट करना स्टार्ट किया. तो मेरे लिए काफ़ी इजी रहा बिकॉज मार्शल आर्ट्स मेरा बैकग्राउंड था. तो व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड शूटिंग तो आई वाज प्रीटी मच very comfortable in front of the camera. And by the time we started doing all the acting sequences, काफ़ी easy रहा मेरे लिए बिकॉज सर का एक स्पेसिफिक ब्रीफ था मेरे कैरेक्टर को लेके, दैट पूजा कार्निक ऐसे बात करती है, ऐसे चलती है, उसका एक डिमीनर है. तो उस हिसाब से मैंने परफॉर्म करने के लिए ट्राई किया. एंड सर वाज कॉन्स्टेंटली गाइडिंग मी थ्रू द फिल्म.
डाउनलोड करें अमर उजाला ऐप और पाएं खबरें लगातार.
अगर आप ये वीडियो YouTube पर देख रहे हैं तो हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन को दबाना ना भूलें. अगर आप Facebook पर ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं तो हमारे पेज को लाइक करें.